Hi, everyone. Welcome to general orientation session. Before we begin, I'd just like to say that Carleton University acknowledges the location of its campus on the traditional unceded territories of the Algonquin Nation. And that being said, I'd like to introduce our host, Dr. Patrice Smith, who is the Dean of the Faculty of Graduate and Postdoctoral Affairs.
Well, thank you for that. That was excellent. This is my first year as Dean, so like you, I am brand new. Well, not brand new to Carleton, but brand new in my role. So I feel all the same jitters, I guess, of being new, the newbie. Welcome to Carleton. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this amazing community of faculty, staff, students, graduate students here are treated very well. I went to Ottawa U. So I'm very happy to welcome you to Carleton, and I look forward to supporting you in your journey of self-discovery as a graduate student. And FGPA is really intended to be a place where you receive support. You receive your scholarships through FGPA, you receive services and supports through the university, and in many cases, whatever you need, if there's an issue that comes up, FGPA is a place to go to receive some advice and help. So, as I said, welcome. My name is Patrice Smith. I am the brand new Dean of the Faculty of Graduate and Postdoctoral Affairs at Carleton, also known as FGPA, and that will become a term that you will become quite familiar with, so you'll be going to FGPA for all sorts of things. What FGPA does, as I said, it supports graduate students, and it really is intended to help you navigate your graduate experience. So myself, I am a neuroscientist by training. My building is the new health sciences building, so the white one that cannot be missed right off of Campus Avenue there. So please feel free to contact me if you have any questions or concerns about your graduate training here at Carleton. But I would like to introduce you to a very impressive lineup of speakers that we have here for you today. First and foremost, we will have our very own President and Vice Chancellor, Dr. Benoit Antoine Bocan. I won't say too many words about Benoit, but he's just an inspiration to everybody he meets. So, followed by Ashley, who is your GSA president, so your Graduate Students Association president. We will also have a few people speaking to you from the FGPA, as I said, Faculty of Graduate and Postdoctoral Affairs. Remember that one. We have David Lafferty, who will tell you a little bit about professional development and all of the professional development workshops, etc., that we have in store for you at through FGPA. We'll also have Lynn Moody, who is our communications person within FGPA. So you will be receiving quite a few emails from Lynn regarding our newsletter. She provides a lot of information for you that is very important, that will help you navigate your graduate training here at Carleton. It is also important, and I can't stress enough how important it is for you to communicate your research, communicate what you're doing, and practice communicating what you're doing for your research in graduate school. And in many cases, what you'll have to do is you have to tailor your presentations depending on the audience that you are presenting to. So I would encourage you really to get involved on campus. Some of the things that you will be doing on campus, you could be volunteering, you could be participating in the 3MT competition, which gives you an opportunity to really present your research in 3 minutes or less. And so this, participate and get involved on campus, and this will really assist you with being able to more effectively communicate what you're doing to a wider community. So we also have in store for you a faculty member, Dr. Jonathan Malloy from the the Department of Political Science will also be presenting some information to you. He's an expert on navigating graduate studies, and I'm sure he has a few tidbits for you on how you can effectively navigate your graduate training. And we also have an actual graduate student with us today who might actually have some advice for you as well. And so we'll go from, we'll start our presentations and our speakers with Dr. Benoit Antoine Bacan, and please welcome Dr. Bacan.
Thank you. Hi everybody. Bonjour tout le monde. Ça va bien? Ah, des francophones. That's nice. Welcome. Welcome. Full house. You guys look great. Welcome to Carleton University. I think you'll find that our university is really a warm and welcoming place. So far, so good? So far, so good. It's a real pleasure to follow Patrice to the podium. One of the best parts of my job is I get to appoint deans. And that's fun to do, to select a dean. And we were really looking for someone that embodies both the power of research and discovery, but also care for students. So we're really, really happy to welcome you to the team, Patrice. Best of luck for your 5-year mandate. I'm sure you'll be amazing. Can I get a big hand for Patrice? Yeah. I'm thrilled to welcome you, our graduate students, today. You're such an important part of our academic and research mission. Thank you for choosing Carleton. There's over 100 universities in Canada, 25,000 in the world. You chose Carleton. I think that shows that you're super smart. We chose you. We chose you too, because we think that you add something to our programs, to our labs, to our research, to our campus. So that's great. Can I get a sense of who you are? Who's from our beautiful city of Ottawa, right here in Ottawa? So I don't need to tell you, this is a great city, the national capital, such a wonderful quality of life. That's great to have you. Welcome. Ontario, but outside of Ottawa, we get lots of people from Toronto and all over Ontario. Welcome. Welcome. Super. Other Canadian provinces? Yeah, Nova Scotia, Quebec, BC, all over the place. International students today, about 20% or so of our grad students come from outside. Welcome, 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 international students. Who thinks they come from the furthest away? Who comes from the furthest away? Yeah, whereabouts? That's pretty far. Welcome. Thanks for coming all the way. Anybody can do just as well? Nepal, I hear. Welcome. All over the world. So that's one advantage. Here you come to Carleton, you meet the whole world, and then you have friends all over the world and you can crash on their couch. We have a really diverse place at Carleton. Here's a little game I like to play. Who speaks 2 languages or more in the crowd? Look at that. Look at that. I love that. Keep your hand up. Keep your hand up. 2 languages or more. 3 or more? Few? 4 or more? Do I see anybody? Anybody? 4? Yes. Yes. Can I ask you to introduce yourself? What's your name and what are the languages you speak? Awesome. Welcome. Welcome. You just upped it up to 5. That's awesome. That's awesome. 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 I've been at Carleton for a year already. It goes super, super quick. Came last summer, came from Queen's University. Couldn't resist a chance to join this wonderful community here at Carleton. I was looking for a place that was in line with my values, and I hope you made a decision based on your values as well. Innovative programs that answers the needs of today, not the 20th century, let alone the 19th, today. And I think we do that all over the place. Cares for students and great career outcomes. And our grads are successful all over the country, all over the world. A place that cares about research and innovation that matters. Okay, that's the key. The key to a great university is to have discovery, knowledge building, and that's what you're going to do here. Contribute to the knowledge of this world, make the world a better place. and also a real sense of community, and I hope that you will find that here. We have great momentum at Carleton. We have over 31,000 students altogether on campus. Isn't that great? And almost 5,000 graduate students, so big contingent of grad students. We're continuing to build our beautiful campus. You might have seen coming in the new Nickel building for the Sprott School of Business. Business students within 12 to 18 months, you'll be moving into your new home. You'll be the first students to move in, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. So lots of people will give you lots of great advice today. I'll give you just two pieces. Number one, and this is what I've been doing the whole year, take advantage of the fact that you're new to ask all the questions. You know, you can't ask a dumb question when you're new. So ask everybody. I see Jonathan wears his beautiful little Ask Me red square, but you can ask anybody. We're all in your corner. You don't have to feel lonely. Just approach somebody, ask a question, start a conversation. Make sure you take advantage of all the services that we offer on campus. We're all here for you. Two, enjoy every day of your university experience. A graduate degree is such a journey of intellectual and spiritual discovery, a journey of self-discovery too. You'll learn a lot in your program. You'll learn a lot in the research that you do, but you'll also learn how to really think things through, how to live with yourself and how to live in and with the world. So I can't encourage you enough to bring resilience to each day and gratitude to each day. It's the journey that matters. I hope you're excited to be here today. I'm excited for you. I wish I could do it all over again. Go back in time and do another degree, maybe in another discipline. Thank you for choosing Carleton. I'm excited to have you. Merci beaucoup. Have a great day. I'll see you around campus.
All right. Minogijigo, bonjour, Ani, hello. Mijek Openes Indishnakaz, je Nashnabe Moen, Dash Ashley Korshane Indishnakaz, je Jagnashi Moen, Sagin First Nation Indonjaba, Minwa, Migize Indodam. So, if you didn't catch any of that, there's a great Anishinaabe course offered by Carleton, and I highly recommend you take that. Yeah, and I do, because we are on the territory of the Omame Wenenene, or the Algonquin Nation. It's something that you'll hear over and over again, and I urge you to take some time to reflect on what that means to you, knowing that we're all visitors here on Algonquin territory. Some of you have already heard parts of my speech this morning when I did the departmental talks, so this will be kind of a repeat, but what I can say is that my name is Ashley Korshane, and I am the president of the Graduate Students Association. And I'm sure some of you have already heard about us because my wonderful team has been out there outreaching to many of you as possible. But for those who don't know, the GSA is a student union that represents you as a graduate student. So if you didn't opt out when you registered for your courses, we offer you all types of services, including grants and scholarships, your health and dental plan, affordable printing, community-based events, and we're often lobbying and negotiating with the university administration, the city, the province for better services for you. We also own a grad bar, which is located on the second floor of the University Center building, and I think President Becon has been there a couple of times. And you can come check it out as well. It's a pretty cozy place with great staff, food and drink, but if a bar is not really your thing, you can always come up to the 6th floor of the University Center for a lounge where we have free coffee. You can come hang out, meet other people. It's a really cool place. So if you know where Rooster's Cafe is on the 4th floor of the Unicenter building, there's stairs and elevators you can take up to the 6th floor. We occupy the whole space there, so come up. And if you did opt out, you still have until September 17th to opt back in to get all the services that I just explained to you now. You can do that through your Carleton Central the same way that you went through your registration process. So with that out the way, I just also want to quickly talk to you about coming here to Carleton for the first time as grad students. Myself, I entered my master's in law and legal studies for the first time last year. I've been at Carleton for over 6 years now, as I did my undergrad here too. At the same time, I was elected to Vice President Finance for the GSA, and I made a lot of friends, and some enemies too, let's be real. But I knew Carleton very, very well. But here's the thing, I still felt like I didn't belong in grad school. And I don't know what it is about graduate studies and the imposter syndrome, but it's real. You don't always feel like you know enough, that the person next to you knows more, that maybe you got here by mistake. But that's not true. In my 1 year of graduate studies, I've learned one thing, and that is nobody knows anything. So it's true, even your profs. I mean, sure, they have like a lot of knowledge in their field and many other fields, but they're probably freaking out too because they feel like they don't have enough content for you. So it's okay. It's okay not to know everything. In fact, the person beside you talking a whole lot is probably trying to hide the fact that they don't know anything. And yeah, you're supposed to be here. So it's not easy being in grad school. It can be isolating. I know it can because last year I had the first time in my life issues with mental health, but through my community and support, I was able to pull through. So grad school doesn't have to be isolating. My main advice to you is to find your community. Mine is the Indigenous students that come here to Carleton, and without them, I really wouldn't be anything. So, I mean, yeah, like I said, find your community. And that's why the Graduate Students Association puts on our Welcome Weeks events every year, and it's just so you can find people that you belong with. I'm sure you've seen the flyers that we've been handing out here. I'll just show everyone here. But we have a lot of great events that you can come to, including a movie night, an Indigenous grad social, Afro Soca night, Bollywood night at Mike's Place, and also sexy trivia. My favorite is salsa night. I love dancing salsa, so come out and say hi. Even if you're shy, it's okay, because I'll tell you a secret. I'm shy too. I'm a little awkward. I just get forced out in the limelight a lot, so it'll be okay. We can awkwardly dance salsa together. Just come out, check the flyers, say hi. You won't regret it, and it's all free. So with that, again, I'll just say that we all have the imposter syndrome at one point in time, but you are supposed to be here. You were selected to be here. Your graduate experience doesn't need to be isolating. There's community here that you can build, and the GSA and I will be here to build it with you. So again, talking about the Welcome Weeks, there is a thing that is taking place at 3 a.m. or 3 p.m. rather. A little early for 3 a.m. But we're having a grad barbecue, which is just behind me. So come out and yeah, hopefully I get to meet every one of you. So thank you very much, and go eat some hot dogs. Thank you.
Thanks, Ashley. I will be quick, but my name is David Lafferty. I'm coordinator of graduate professional development, and I'm organizing the orientation today, so that's why I'm kind of running around and checking things all the time. So first, I'd like to say welcome to graduate school. Part of my job in FGPA is to remind you that while graduate school is about acquiring knowledge, and although knowledge can be an end in itself, graduate school is not an end in itself. It's a pathway to a career, and your experience in graduate school is just one part of your longer-term career narrative. So we have professional development resources that we offer for you, and they're designed to help you professionalize as a student or academic, or to prepare for a career after graduation. And everything we offer for professional development can be found at carleton.ca/gradpd. First, Grad Navigate. That is a suite of workshops that are related to professional development. There are some up already. Not all of them are posted yet, though, so check back, because more get posted throughout the term. And they're offered by various offices and services on campus and sometimes outside organizations. If you're working as a TA when you attend one of these, it can count towards your paid pedagogical training hours. So there's a bonus there if you're working as a TA, but they are open to all graduate students. We also offer writing support services. So services for people who are working on theses or dissertations. So most of you are not going to be right at that stage yet, but that's something to think about for the future. We have alumni advice, so interviews with Carleton Graduate School alumni on how they forged their careers. We have information on the 3-minute thesis contest, which we hold every year, as well as other contests which you might be interested in. We have Grad Link, which is a calendar of events related to professional development or research. And we also regularly post news items relating to professional development. So I encourage you to check back often. And yeah, Grad Navigate is probably the main thing that you're going to look at. And once again, it's carleton.ca/gradpd. And lastly, for us, mental health and wellness are also part of professional development. Health and counseling services offers counseling for personal, emotional, and mental health problems. They have a number of areas of specialty, including issues specific to graduate students. One of their counselors, Elisa McLean, is largely devoted to counseling grad students, and their contact information is up there. Also, I'd like to announce a new initiative that has been started in cooperation with the Graduate Students Association and a number of other services on campus, and that's the Graduate Peer Support Program. And the Graduate Peer Support Program is a program that works to build emotional support for graduate students who may face personal or academic difficulties at Carleton. It touches on topics such as, but not limited to, mental health and wellness, graduate life in general, and sexual and gendered violence. So I encourage you to get involved with that. They are looking for volunteers, so if you want to talk a little more about that initiative, I encourage you to touch base with some of the GSA members outside or at the barbecue afterwards. And that's it for me. Thanks very much.
My name is Lynn, and I'm the Communications and Recruitment Officer for FGPA. Now, I have a question for you guys, and I want you to shout out the answer as loud as you can. What's the best university in Canada? Carleton. Oh, you guys can do better than that. Come on. Carleton! I went to UBC to do my master's degree, and believe me, there just wasn't the kind of support at that point in time that we offer here. And one of the things that we do is we try to keep you in the know about what's going on. And to do that, we have a whole bunch of different tools where we reach out to you. So one, you may, if you've already signed up and registered and paid your fees, have received the September 1st issue of the Graduate at Carleton newsletter. And that's a newsletter we're sending out twice a month that has a whole bunch of stuff in it, and I'll get back to that stuff in just a minute. But it's really important to read that because it's set up in such a way that you can just run your finger down and go, not interested, not interested. Oh, that looks really interesting. I'll read that. And you click on it, and it'll give you more information. But the most important part of that newsletter is important dates and deadlines. It's the final part of the newsletter. If you don't read anything else, just flip down to that part because it will have all kinds of stuff in it about when should I be applying to graduate. And you don't want to miss that because otherwise you won't be graduating. Now, I shouldn't be talking about that now, but in fact, what David said is important. You want to think about the whole experience, and you want to think about the end in terms of when you're out there looking for a job. We have a website, gradstudents@carleton.ca, and that website was redesigned a few years back because grad students got together in focus groups and told us what they wanted to see on the web, what was absolutely essential and a priority. So it should be pretty user-friendly. I'm always up for suggestions though, so if you look at the website and you think you have some other ideas, just send them my way. I'm always happy to hear from you. We have a Twitter account, and that's at CU Grad Studies. We upload to the Twitter account almost every day and retweet lots of stuff to your attention. We are on YouTube, and that is Grads at Carleton. And there's hundreds of videos up there right now of grad students, former grad students talking about their research. In particular, there's a whole bunch talking about the 3-minute thesis competition. And I know others have mentioned that, but I want to put in a real plug. This year, you may decide that you're not quite ready to do that, but you might want to come to the finale and listen to the top 10 students talk about their research in 3 minutes or less. It's really awesome, and it's the best part of my job because I get to meet with grad students and talk with them about their research and help them explain their research to the general public in a way that the general public would understand. I always use my brother as an example where he did dermal absorption of phenyltrethion and going, what the heck is that? And he said people would back away from him at cocktail parties because they didn't know what the heck he was talking about. But I said, if you talk about chemicals that go through the skin and eventually could be cancer causing, that's going to get their attention. And so that's what we teach you to do. So actually, we are involved in media training. We do one-on-one coaching. We work with University Communications, and they have media training workshops. You won't want to take that right away, but as you get closer to your finale and you want to learn more about talking about your research, it's a really valuable workshop to go to. With the grad student research, it can be not just theses, but it can be research papers as well. Or for example, some programs work in groups to do group projects like social work, and we've pumped out stories about social work in the past, talking about what our amazing students are doing. Awards. We do keep you up to date with award information when you have to apply by. And oftentimes those deadlines are a year in advance, so you want to keep up to date with that. And award winners. There are some really great awards, like the Fulbright or the Vanier. These are the best awards in Canada, and Carleton has had their fair share of winners. In fact, we've got a couple of stories coming up about our Vanier Award winners. We do talk about important tips on succeeding as a grad student at Carleton. And I know back in my day, nobody offered any advice whatsoever. They just said, sink or swim, Moody. It was kind of horrible. And I almost sunk. It took me a long time to get my master's degree. Hopefully, you guys, we're going to make it easier for you. We're going to tell you what you need to do. And there are a couple of folks here who are going to give you suggestions, both from an academic and a student point of view, about best things to do. Any questions on a communications front? Yes, no, maybe so. You can always email me and let me know. If you have feedback from the newsletter, let me know. If you have great story ideas, doesn't just have to be about your research. We've got a student, for example, in engineering who's going off to Africa for 2 months to do a research project. That's wonderful. And we'll get her to take high resolution pictures for us. They can be featured in upcoming view books and things like that. All kinds of opportunities. Or if you've got like a new initiative that you're starting, think of us, let us know. We'll help you promote it. And that kind of promotion, whether it's a research story or something else, you can show those stories to future employers and say, oh, this is all about me, by the way. Okay, thank you very much.
Hi there. So my name is Jonathan Malloy, and I'm a professor of political science. And I think the main reason I was asked to come here today is a faculty member giving some advice in graduate studies. And the main reason I think is because I recently wrote a book on how to do particularly a PhD, but graduate school in general. And look, it just happens to be here. I happen to have a copy and things there. So this is a book, and it's called Work Your Career. Get what you want from your social sciences or humanities PhD. So it's PhD focused, but certainly is applicable, I think, for anyone in graduate school. And I co-authored it with Lillian Berdal from the University of Saskatchewan. And I'm not going to talk much about the book today, but it's there. There's a link. There's some information there. But I did want to give some remarks based on the advice that we have in the book there, to the extent that I can sort of cram it into the, I think, 8 minutes I was given to talk about it here. And I want to really, and in these remarks, I want to focus quickly on 4 things about graduate school. Hopefully reinforcing things you've already heard a bit today and have heard throughout your orientation events today. One is, and Ashley already mentioned it, is the imposter syndrome. The second is moving from student to professional. The third is investing in things outside the classroom, including things in your own life outside academia entirely. And the fourth is to have an exit plan from graduate school. So I want to work through those 4 things briefly, and they all draw on things that are in our book. The first is, as Ashley mentioned, was the imposter syndrome. So who here before now knew what the imposter syndrome was? Many people, many did not and stuff. So as you may know, the basic idea of the imposter syndrome is that if you didn't raise your hand just now, you're probably feeling the imposter syndrome. Oh, I don't know what the imposter syndrome is. What is it? What's going on? That there. It is, of course, the feeling that you're an imposter in graduate school. There's been a mistake. Somehow you were allowed into graduate school and it's all wrong. You're an imposter. You don't belong. You don't fit, etc. And that's something that really hits people, particularly in graduate school. It hits people throughout life, including much later in life. I can tell you, many times I've walked in thinking there must be a mistake. I should not have been allowed to come up here and speak. For sure, I'm an imposter. And the feeling that everyone else knows what's going on, but you don't, or whatever, you're an imposter in that way. And that's not true, but the feeling is normal, and particularly in graduate school often is where it's felt the strongest. So self-awareness is important. There's a few people in grad school life that clearly do not have the imposter syndrome at all and stuff. Well, man, I'm God's gift to everyone. I'm glad I'm here. They're so lucky to have me. But for most people, it does kick in. And doubts are natural. You do need to sometimes evaluate your options and things. But to emphasize that this is a very, very common thing for everyone. This imposter syndrome. I don't belong. There's something wrong. I stick out in that way. And to remind you that it's very natural, and not to suffer in silence when you do have that feeling. Don't think you have to hide. I mean, if you are struggling with things, ask for help. Don't assume that there's been a mistake. I shouldn't be here at all, and so on like that. There's a lot of resources and people that are there for you, but it's up to you to reach out. But first of all, I always like to talk about the imposter syndrome to make sure that everyone knows about it, knows that it's very natural in all walks of life, and to overcome it and figure out how because as Ashley said, everyone does belong. You do belong here. So that's one, is the imposter syndrome. The second is, I said, moving from student to professional. And this is usually the biggest difference, especially if you're going into grad school from an undergrad program right now. If you're doing a PhD, you maybe had a little taste of grad school already. But it's usually the biggest difference moving to undergrad to grad school is that you're moving from student to professional. You're forging ahead on your own as an independent scholar and professional. And so, we are professors. We no longer really have answer keys or rubrics, hidden in our desk and stuff. There isn't always sort of like a key right answer. In grad school, often there's no real right or wrong answers. There's better answers, certainly, and you have to certainly master some skills and things like that. But increasingly, it's much more about discernment and figuring out, sort of making arguments, developing research and ideas and stuff and things. But there's no single right answer you just have to stumble on. You have to develop ideas. And that's all part really of being a professional, is learning more and more about discernment, figuring out what are the options, what information is available, what's the best possible option or decision I can make based on context and reasonably available information, working with ideas and arguments, building skills and accomplishments that work for you. Again, there can be some right answers in grad school for sure, but often it's about finding the best answer. Not necessarily the right answer for everybody, the best answer for you. And that's part really of being discerning, is moving into being a professional. Similarly, we're still your professors, but the relationship is changing. You're moving from student to professional again, and you have to figure out that role in that relationship. And it is going to vary a great deal according to professor, program, context, and so on. A simple issue is, you probably already wrestled with undergrads studies, is how to address a professor by their first name or doctor or professor or something else. And guess what? It varies by person. It varies by personality, by background, and things there. And it's often a discernment. And as you move into graduate school, more and more it's figuring out sort of what, how do I address the professor? Sort of what sort of relationship do we have in that way? Because you are moving more and more into a collegial role. Certainly, there's still a hierarchy. There's certainly still accountability. They're the professor, you're the student. But you are moving more and more into a more collegial relationship. But it's going to differ for each person. And you probably already figured out in undergrad, trying to figure out how to address a professor, and keep working on that. That's, again, all part of discernment, moving from being just purely a student to a professional, learning discernment and navigating your new and evolving role in grad school. So that's moving from student to professional. The third thing I mentioned was investing in things outside the classroom. I was chair of my department for 6 years, until they finally got rid of me. And one of my biggest issues as department chair was trying to get more turnout from graduate students for talks and events. Because many people, not surprisingly, see grad school primarily in terms of just of their classes, or requirements, deadlines, what's right in front of you in that way. But there's so much more. And classes certainly are demanding. There's lots of demands on your classwork, maybe a lot of other demands, professional and personal, on your time. But grad school is certainly about intellectual life. It's about going beyond your own specific interests. Again, what's just on the test or what's just due at the end of the term. It's about expanding your intellectual horizons and community in broader ways. And so in graduate school, you have, probably at more than any point in your life, you've got more opportunities to learn and build intellectual community, to go to talks, to go to events, to connect with other people, various backgrounds and things in that way, building intellectual and other types of community as well. And that connecting with other graduate students, certainly, connecting with other faculty, etc. Again, and building that intellectual community. So go to talks and things you don't necessarily know much about. Reach out to things, build groups, look at going to conferences and other academic opportunities like that, maybe publishing your research, things like that. All that is part of intellectual community. But it's up to you to figure out, what can I do here? But certainly go beyond the classroom like that. Now, it doesn't mean you do absolutely everything in grad school. A lot of discernment in grad school is figuring out how to use your time. You've got a lot of different demands on your time, so you can't just do everything. You have to figure out a strategy that works for you. This is a good point to mention also, certainly outside the classroom, outside academia. Again, you've all got the rest of your life beyond academia. If not, you should have something outside of academia in your life, and balancing the rest of your life with your academic demands is also a big challenge, and that's just going to get more challenging, frankly. At this point, I'll give a particular shout out to my co-author, Laleen. If you mentioned, we've got our Twitter handles there, and you can go to my Twitter account, and you can read some somewhat interesting stuff, I guess. But I do quite urge, so my colleagues from the University of Saskatchewan, but she tweets quite a bit on life balance issues, I think particularly for women. And so I really urge you to take a look at her Twitter handle, if you are on Twitter, to look up Laleen Berdal and read her tweets and engage with her community, particularly on life balance issues, which I think is really, really valuable. My fourth and final thing is to have an exit plan from graduate school. Now, many people enter grad school because they aren't exactly sure what they want to do with their life, which is exactly how I went to grad school, I can tell you. So that's fine. It's normal. You're looking at things, you're developing ideas here, etc. But now is the time to start thinking about what the next step. And one thing I do say, even though this is the first day of grad school, you should start developing an exit plan from grad school starting today. Really, what am I doing after this? Because that's going to then shape a lot of your decisions and ideas as you move through graduate school. So it's okay. It's quite okay to not know what you want to do, exactly what you want to do after this, and so on. Having a fuzzy plan, frankly, with lots of options, it's fine. It's better than sort of having a laser-focused plan, and perhaps you don't necessarily want to put your eggs in one basket and all that. But my point being certainly is that you should have some sort of idea, and you should be building your exit plan from grad school starting today, not right at the end of your program. And that exit plan does not need to have sort of a particular career option or particular outcome, but it should be about building skills, competencies and networks for the long term, building out and testing possible options. So again, getting back to intellectual community, going out and doing different things, engaging with things, trying out different ideas, again, all thinking beyond grad school. What am I going to do next? What's my exit plan after this, etc. A big part of that, as you've already heard, is taking advantage of all the programs that FGPA offers. So you heard from Dr. David Lafferty and from Lynn Moody about all the different professional development programs that are available. You got the links there to Carleton.ca grad PD. Grad PD, right, and the graduate at Carleton newsletter, is that? Graduate. Carleton, the newsletter and things there. So please, take advantage of those. Those are there for you, and that's a big part often of building your broader exit plan after grad school. And I said, this is the first day of grad school. I'm not trying to lay everything heavily on you to start thinking about how you're going to leave this place, but you get my point, is that today's the day to start thinking about, well, what's my next step? What's after that way? All that. Enjoy your time here, have a good time, study hard, but do think about the exit plan beyond that. So again, that's all I really wanted to say here today, was a bit about the imposter syndrome, which you all know about now, about moving from student to professional, about investing in things outside the classroom and investing in things in the rest of your life, and finally to have an exit plan from grad school. That's all I wanted to say today. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Anita. I'm finishing up my PhD in the Law and Legal Studies department. So it's been a few years since I was sitting where you are now, but I do remember the excitement and the nervousness, but also feeling kind of overwhelmed. And I'm the last speaker of the day, and part of that is that a lot of what I'm going to say has already been said by people who said it very well. But I'm just here to offer some of my, some of my tips, my strategies for making it through, because in the coming weeks, you're going to be bombarded with information, your program requirements, and we all have other responsibilities. You have other responsibilities in your life outside of this. You might also be a TA. You might become a research assistant. There's a lot to juggle and a lot to figure out how you're going to balance it all. So there's many ways to approach this, but I'll share some of mine. I think the first one, and it sounds kind of simple, is that you treat your graduate studies like a full-time job. And I know you're probably all hard workers, you've made it to grad school, you're here, but there's some things about this, so hear me out. Part of doing a full-time job is simply showing up. And sometimes when we feel overwhelmed, we talk about this imposter syndrome, it's hard to know where to start. So by just simply showing up every day, committing to every day showing up, that's laying the foundation. And I tell you, just by showing up, you will develop a positive reputation in your department as someone who is reliable, who's there, who's present. So when professors are looking for a research assistant, when they're looking for somebody to help on a project, they'll think about the person they see all the time, the person who's there, the person who is present, the person who's showing up. So that's the first thing I think about. Treating this like a full-time job is simply show up every day. But the other part is that people who work full-time don't actually work all the time. At the end of the day, they close their computers, they leave their office, knowing that they'll come back the next day and they'll pick up their work again. But as I'm sure you all know, academics and graduate students are really bad at stopping at the end of the day. And I mean, again, we talk about that imposter syndrome. There's always more to know, there's always more to learn, more to read, more to write, and it's really hard to stop. But stopping is so important to having the energy to continue to go on, to treating this like a job that you are going to be doing, not just this term, but the next term, and the next term, and if you're a PhD student like me, for several terms. It takes a while. This is a long journey. So it's really important to learn how to stop and how to take the time to do those other things, to socialize, to exercise, to relax, to recharge. Let people know that you're people in your life, that you're busy all day. This is your job. You're taking it very seriously. You're working hard. But at the end of the day, you're available. You get together with your friends. You take your weekends off. These things are so important to maintaining some sanity as we make it through. But you're going to say, but I've got so much to do. I have to do the long nights. I have to do the long hours. And I know it's hard. I have the times when I lie awake at night and can't sleep because that scroll of endless things to do, it's really hard to give ourselves permission to stop. So I think one of the tips that I've found is finding ways to really develop your productivity. And my favorite one, you might have heard about this before. Has anyone heard about the Pomodoro technique? Hands? Okay, good, a few of you. So Pomodoro technique, or otherwise just known as a focused work period. That's a time when you do nothing but work. A lot of people, like me, I use 45 minutes. During that time, phone is off, no emails, no texting. If you text me during that 45 minutes, not only will I not reply, I'm not even going to read your text because I know that will distract me and break my focus. 45 minutes, I am focused, I am productive. And then after 45 minutes, I'll read your text and I'll write you back. I'll stretch, I'll get a coffee, maybe something to eat. I'll recharge a little bit, and then I get back to it. Just like that idea of stopping at the end of the day, I stop after 45 minutes, I recharge, I come back to it. A lot of people, we do this, you sit down to work, your brain sort of ramps up, you get into the work, and then you keep going, and then you're starting to lose your focus, but you just keep going because there's so much to do, right? And by the end, your productivity is going down and down. You are working longer, but for less. So the idea, and it sounds almost counterintuitive, is to stop while you're still focusing. You get in there, you stay focused, you don't break your focus, and then you stop while your productivity is still here. You recharge, you come back, and you're back here. By being able to work productively during your time that you are, it helps you allow yourself to stop as well at the end of the day. You get into that habit of working hard, working focused, and then stopping, and do those other things that we really need to do. Because this is, as many people will say, you probably heard this one too, it's a marathon, not a sprint. This is a long haul. By stopping, you allow yourself to take those breaks, you recharge, so you can do this the next day, and the next day, and the next day. So I encourage you to find the people who will support you in this kind of work. There's plenty of academics who are going to tell you about how they survived grad school on coffee and 3 hours of sleep, and how they lost so much weight or gained so much weight and all these things, as if it's like a badge of honor to be as miserable as possible during your grad studies. But I would suggest something novel. How about we try and support each other in doing this in a way that's healthy, that allows us to be, emotionally, mentally, physically balanced. Because especially for people who are here for a long time, life is complicated. I guarantee some big life event is going to happen. And the more you can develop a way that allows your work here to be balanced, the more that will allow you to deal with all the other stuff that's going to happen in the coming years. So I just want to wish you all the best for this term and for your graduate studies. And I'll stick around for a little bit if anyone wants to chat with me more about, I'd love to rant about the 45-minute thing or about anything else. So all the best.
So from all the speakers you've heard today, I think the underlying message is make the most of your graduate training here at Carleton. There are lots of supports available to you. Please use those resources to help you navigate your graduate training. So I'll end by asking those people who are TAs this term to stick around for the TA orientation. And we also have a barbecue at 3 p.m. So that barbecue will be in the green area on the University Drive between Low Building and Colonel By Building. And have a great year and welcome to Carleton. It's a pleasure to have you. Please just feel free to come by FGPA and we'll help you in whatever way we can. Thank you.